Ricken Financial presents Kickin with the Rickens, redefining retirement. Gerry, Ricken, and Heidi Ricken Provost want to help you reach the retirement you deserve. Let's build a strategy that gives you the confidence while meeting your financial wants and needs. Meet the team at rickenfinancial.com. Now, Kickin with the Rickens.
Thanks for subscribing. Thanks for downloading. Thanks for listening to Kickin with the Rickens podcast. We are here with retirement planner Heidi Ricken Provost and licensed insurance professional Gerry Ricken. My name is Mark Owens. We invite you to get more at rickenfinancial.com. You can get all the information here in the show notes. Thanks again for subscribing. Now, let's get to the show. Gerry Ricken, Heidi Ricken Provost, we're here.
Well, we didn't think it would ever come.
We're here.
It would ever get here.
We're here.
And now we're here.
All the hard work is paid off. We've clocked out for the last time. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to retirement. Now what?
Well, the first thing you're going to figure out is what you're going to do with your time, because now you have all the time in the world.
Right.
You've already figured out your income plan because you did that 3 to 6 months out, and your tax plan's taken care of, your medical plan's taken care of. What about the purpose? What are you doing every single day? Because when you have all the time in the world, if you want to, great, rot away on the couch. But we don't want you to rot away on the couch. We want you to enjoy your retirement now. This is what you've worked for. This is what you've saved for. And now you actually get to enjoy it. And how exciting, you get to enjoy it. So you're going to start building out your purpose approach for your time. What are you going to do on a daily basis? Do you want to volunteer more often? Do you want to take more trips? Do you want to do any of those bucket list items you've been waiting to do for your future? Well, guess what? The future is today, and it's time to do it.
Mm-hmm. And when we talk about bucket list items, we don't want you to do the really risky things unless you really want to, and your spouse, if you're married, agrees to that. But bucket list items are things like, I've always wanted to play a guitar, and I've never played a guitar. Right. You know, learning those kinds of things. I have these interests, and I want to pass those on to the future generations. So why not spend time with your kids and your grandkids and show them what you've done, and show them how, if you're a woodworker, bring the kids into the shop and show them what you do and how you do it. And that passion may pass on from generation to generation as well.
Yeah, but we don't want to lose those kinds of tricks of the trade, because you think about it, how many times did I get the privilege of baking in the kitchen with my grandma? I am not a baker, okay? Yeah. I know how to make a pie. And if I can toot my own horn, Gerry and I make a damn good pie. So if you're one of our clients, you know how good this pie is, because every Thanksgiving you get one from us.
Talk to us about that.
It's a salted caramel cinnamon crumb apple pie. So yes,
homemade.
We make them every Thanksgiving for days at a time. My parents' house smells so good. We utilize their double ovens and bake 12 pies at a time. But I didn't know how to bake anything, and I didn't have the patience for it until Grandma brought me in the kitchen and taught me from the ground up. And we lost her when I was fairly young. And I think about her every time I'm in my kitchen. And what a beautiful legacy that I get to think about my grandma all the time and think of her fondly and remember the moments that we had together, because that's how she wanted to spend her time. And we don't have all the time in the world. Yeah. We only have the limited time we have here on Earth. None of us has a crystal ball. None of us knows how long we're going to be here. So it's important to take a purposeful approach of how you spend your time, because what if it's your last day? I don't want to spend it wasting away on the couch when I wanted to take the vacations and spend the time with the grandkids and, do all the things. But you also have to give yourself permission to spend some of those monies that you've saved for your future so that you can enjoy it in retirement, because that's a big, big problem we see a lot. I've saved for my future, but I always wanted a nice kitchen. I can't tell you how many meetings per week I hear, I always really wanted a nice kitchen, so maybe one day I'll do that. Don't wait for one day, do it today.
Maybe one day is today. Maybe one day is truly today. So just you have the permission. Once we build out all of your plans, and we can show you with certainty that you're not going to run out of income, you're not going to be a burden on someone, just spend some time and do the things you really want to do, because it's all about living a life with purpose, and doing that. Just let's have that conversation to start with, okay? Just sit down with us, have the conversation, call us at 314-207-6211, and we will just walk you through piece by piece, step by step, how to get there. Heidi talked about the income plan that we're going to design for you. Well, that income plan, what other kinds of, you have your normal expenses, your everyday expenses. But like we said before, when you're retired, you have all the time in the world, and every day is a Saturday. And what day do you spend the most time and money playing and spending? If that's on Saturday when you're working, now every day is a Saturday. So you're going to be taking more vacations, perhaps. Maybe you'll buy a camper. Maybe you'll buy a new car. Maybe you'll do those kinds of things. We can plan for those things. Those things are the easy things. The hard thing is you figuring out what you want to do and how you want to do it, and we can build everything around that.
But the reason why we have to start with that conversation is because we need to know what kind of life you'd like to live so that you can build the financial plan around it. Yeah. If people just come in and say, here's how much money I need on a monthly basis, and I just need the financial plan to work. Okay, yeah, I can build out any financial plan to work, but if we don't know what you want to do with your time and your money and your efforts and your resources, we can't really build out a purposeful plan for your financial future. So that's really the starting point.
And some people say, well, we ask this question all the time. Are you in your forever home? And people look at us, and some people have never thought about that. They don't know. And some people say, well, no, we're not, because we're in a 2-story and our bedrooms are upstairs. So eventually those stairs are going to be an issue for us. So what are you going to do? Are you going to right-size that home and get maybe into a ranch? Does that create an income or a cash event? Does that create some more liquidity? Do you need more liquidity to do that? Or are you going to be able to use the same equity in your home and just switch over? Or are you going to buy another home, a second home, an apartment someplace? Things that will feed your soul. So if you're in 107 degrees, heat index like it is right now outside, do you want to spend some time in Colorado? Do you want to spend some time in Michigan? What do you want to do?
Or Alaska, like our clients just got back from. They were just telling me about it yesterday. I'm very jealous.
Exactly. But it's a little bit cooler there in the summertime than it is in St. Louis. But it's just about what you want to do and how you want to spend your time. And the two of you should probably talk about that if you're married. And if you're not married, just what have you always wanted to do? And let's just do it.
So that's the starting point. And where do we go from there? Well, continuously, if you've heard me say anything, you'll hear me say this a million times. You want to make sure that your risk tolerance is matching your investment mix. So you got to look at that at every stage of your financial life. And yes, as soon as you retire, that is an incredibly important time to continuously make sure your risk tolerance and your investments match. Because now that you're going to start spending down some of those assets, if the market turns volatile, you don't want that volatility to hurt you in retirement.
And just like we talked about 5 to 10 years before retirement, that's probably your most volatile or the most risky time of your life. If you take lots of risk during then and a market correction happens, it's not only the first 5 to 10 before, but it's the first 5 to 10 after your retirement date, where that's very, very critical, because that 10 to 15 or 20-year period before and after, if things happen bad in that situation, we can wreck a whole plan. So we want to make sure that you know the repercussions of your risk tolerance as well.
When you retire, if your goal is to stay retired, we want to make sure that you can make that goal happen. So if you're not sure if the money is going to be okay, if you're invested in the right way, if you can withstand some, market volatility, give us a call at 314-207-6211 or head over to rickenfinancial.com, and we'll help give you a little bit of insight there.
Have you ever worked with somebody who you're looking at their portfolio and you're saying, we still got some work to do. We still got to dot some I's and cross some T's, but they're like, nope, I've got this date. This is the date I'm going to retire. I'm going to clock out on this date. I'm not going back to work again. Like, is that a challenge for you to tell people, like, you're not quite there yet?
It can actually be a challenge. And, sometimes you need a little bit of financial coaching and guidance, and that's what we're here for too. But I'll tell you, more often than not, the people who are very concerned for their financial future and do I have enough? Have I done enough? Those are usually the people we meet with who are going to be in good shape because of the work that we can do together. And sometimes the starting point, so when you come see us and we take you through the purpose approach, we start with where are you right now? If you make no changes at all in your financial life, am I going to be okay? And sometimes that picture can be ugly, but we can help you make it okay if you just simply match your risk tolerance properly with the right investments, and we build out an income stream that can cover your expenses There are ways that we can help you get there. But I'll tell you, if you can't get there, I'm going to be honest, because that's, that's who we are.
Yeah.
We're going to tell you the truth, not what you want to hear. We're going to tell you the truth. It doesn't matter if you want to hear this or not. We're going to be very open and honest and say, look, the numbers are the numbers. We've had to have that conversation with people because they are overspending. And they're making a lot of money, but they're spending a lot of money and are not saving enough, because you need to save for the future, because, pensions aren't there anymore like they were for previous generations.
But
And
even
you're
if you do have a pension and Social Security, sometimes
You can
people
still overspend.
at the beginning of retirement, because all these friends you've wanted to have lunch with for the last decade are all calling and they want to celebrate your retirement. You start, you retire, you go out to lunch more often, you go out to dinner more often.
Let's go play golf. Let's go on a boating excursion.
You get to do all of these things. So sometimes it is a really tough conversation, and it's a balancing act, because we want you to be able to do that. But is this going to be sustainable for the long term? Or is this more of a beginning of retirement type deal?
Right.
And, we know this is just the tip of the iceberg. There is so much more we want to dive in now that you're retired. But this really is incredibly important to make sure that your money is going to last. And are you pulling from the right places? Do you have enough income to come in to cover those expenses? That's really the starting point there at the beginning of retirement.
We've talked about how to spend your money. You're feeling pretty good about your income, your taxes, Social Security benefits. I guess the next question is, I'm retired. What else is there to know?
You're going to make sure that your income plan's in place and you're enjoying your time in retirement. It doesn't end there, because retirement is a beautiful time where you get to spend all the time in the world doing the things you want, but it's also the time that you're going to age up. So you need to make sure your health care plan is in place too. And at this point in time, now that you're retired, I'm sure you have your medical insurance covered. You have the Medicare that you need coverage for, and the supplement or the Advantage plan that you need for your medical coverage. But we need to take it a step further and plan for one item,
Okay.
and that is long-term care. So the statistics say 7 out of 10 of us are going to need 1 day of long-term care, okay? So 70% of Americans will need at least 1 day of long-term care, which means you need some help doing your activities of daily living. Well, the statistics also show that if you're in a married couple, 90% chance that one or both of you will need long-term care.
Can we just say that one more time, please?
If you're in a married couple over the age of 50 years old, there is a 90% chance that one or both, so there's a 90% chance that one of you or a 90% chance that both of you will need at least 1 day of long-term care.
So you need to be covering that. You need to figure out a plan on how to make that happen, because that's not an inexpensive task.
Oh, no.
Paying for that. And some people say, well, gosh, it's just too expensive to buy insurance.
But
Well,
before you even get there, we got to ask the question, what type of care do you want?
yeah, what do you want? How do you want your life to look? What do you want your life to look like in the event you can't do 2 of your daily activities of daily living? So what does that look like? Do I want to stay home? Do I want to bring help into the home? Do I want to go into a facility? Do I want to go into a facility with my spouse? All those things. And now we're finding out now, it used to be that home health care was less expensive than going into a facility. And now what's the case, Heidi?
Home health care is more expensive than assisted living nationwide. Genworth runs numbers every single year. The numbers this year, home health care, which, by the way, is a glorified babysitter.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean a medical provider is coming in your home. That means a babysitter is coming in your home to make sure you're okay. They can't give you medications. Then you need nursing care on top of that. So home health care is more expensive than an assisted living facility. And a lot of times when we're talking about long-term care with prospects and clients alike, what they'll say is, whatever I do, I want to make sure I'm not a burden on my kids or my family. Well, if that's the case, we really need to put a plan in place, because some people will say, well, I've saved enough for the future and I can just self-insure. I'll just pay for whatever care I want. That's one way that you add the burden to your family.
That's only solving the financial issue. The biggest obstacle that we find that people deal with is what's available out there. Where do we even start? What are my options? How am I going to figure this out?
And let me tell you, if you have a long-term care policy written in life insurance, so back in the day, long-term care used to be you had to pay for it, and if you didn't use it, you lost it, and you paid for Joe down the street's long-term care.
Right.
I mean, a lot of those policies are long gone. They don't exist anymore. The life insurance world has been completely redone, and there are life insurance plans that you can utilize. And if you need some form of your long-term care, you can tax-free spend down your death benefit while you're alive to cover the cost of your care.
Let's just say that one more time. You can spend your death benefit while you're alive. That just goes against everything that we've always learned about life insurance in our entire lives. And it also comes tax-free. So you can spend down dollars that you paid pennies for tax-free.
And when you're with the correct company, they have a concierge service written into that will step in and assist you and your family. So say you need some form of long-term care, you reach out to the concierge, they build out the budget for you on a monthly basis. They do all of the legwork and the hard work, and they go into your community and they figure out the best places for you to go to get this care that fall in your budget with a bed available. They hand them to you on a silver platter, and you get to choose where you want to go.
Then you can take the tours and figure out that's what you really want to do. But they interview you up front to determine your wants and needs. Mm-hmm. Then they build out the plan, and it's a beautiful thing.
So it really does decrease the burden on your family. And if you want to make sure you're not burdensome to the family and that the plan that you would like matches the financial plan, matches, the amount of burden that you could be on someone, matches how you can plan for your future, give us a call at 314-207-6211. Let's chat and see if this might be a good plan for you. Because if you're married right now, there's a 90% chance you're going to need long-term care. If you're not, there's a 70% chance you're going to need long-term care. And guess what? If you're one of the 10% or the 30% that doesn't need it, you're going to be helping to provide it for someone in the future anyway. So we're all going to be affected by this. We got to have a plan in place.
And there are also opportunities out there to repurpose your current life insurance. If you have permanent life insurance that has cash value, we can exchange that cash value. We can exchange that policy, move the cash value from one policy to a new policy, because as your life changes, your life insurance needs change. So you may not need that for death benefit anymore. You may need it for living benefits, like spending long-term care, spending your death benefit down for long-term care. And guess what? If you never need it, we hope and pray that none of you ever need this, the money stays in the family because your beneficiaries will receive that death benefit tax-free in the future. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, call us at 314-207-6211, and we'll run some illustrations. We'll show you what's out there. We'll determine whether or not this is a good fit for you. And if it is, it fits very well. If it isn't, we'll just move on.
But you can't do this without thinking about the estate planning and the legacy planning for your future, because when you implement life insurance for the living benefits like that, you really are ensuring your legacy.
Right.
But that's just the first step in legacy and estate planning. Now that you're in retirement, you should make sure that your estate planning is taken care of. If you need a will, make sure you have that will and that it's up to date and ready to go. If you have a trust or you need a trust, first of all, get it done. Second of all, make sure it is funded. So many people go through the painstaking process of planning for a trust, opening their trust, paying an attorney for it. And then we look at the title of their home and it's still in their personal names, not in the name of the trust. We look at all sorts of stuff. You need to make sure that your trust is funded properly.
Because we've said, we've asked people, well, oh, you've done estate planning, you have a trust. Have you funded the trust? And they look at us and say, we can't afford to fund the trust. Funding the trust simply means changing the name of your current assets into the name of the trust. Yep. It doesn't mean coming up with additional money and putting it into something over here. It's just retitling things. We can help you with that, and we do that. And we do that every day with people. We look at if they have a trust, have they properly associated all their assets to that trust, or are the beneficiaries good?
Absolutely, and you need to make sure that your beneficiaries are the beneficiaries you want and need to avoid probate, because you have worked way too hard for the court system to determine what's going to happen to your financial, earnings for the future.
And for the attorneys to become one of your beneficiaries. So why not just spend that money up front And it doesn't take much. We can do that planning right here in our office with an attorney.
I think you've told the story before about someone who passes away and their beneficiaries, they forgot to update the names, and it's like an ex-wife or an ex-husband that's pretty much getting everything.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Oh, yeah, we've seen that quite a bit. And at the end of the day, too, you need to make sure that you have the right powers of attorney on hand for medical and financial decisions, because at any point in time, anything can happen to any of us. If you don't have a healthcare directive and a healthcare power of attorney and a financial power of attorney for someone in your life that would step in if you need some assistance, please call us right away, 314-207-6211. We'd be happy to get those to you complimentary. Just come in and meet with us, know who those people would be, and we'd be happy to do that for you complimentary. So that number is 314-207-6211. Let's get started with that, and then we can build your estate plan around it.
Insurance products are offered through the insurance business Ricken Financial LLC. Ricken Financial LLC is also an investment advisory practice that offers products and services through Impact Partnership Wealth LLC, a registered investment advisor. IPW does not offer insurance products. The insurance products offered by Ricken Financial LLC are not subject to investment advisor requirements. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal. Any references to protection, safety, or lifetime income generally refer to fixed insurance products, never securities or investments. Insurance guarantees are backed by the financial strength and claims paying abilities of the issuing carrier. This podcast is intended for informational purposes only. It is not intended to be used as the sole basis for financial decisions, nor should it be construed as advice designed to meet the particular needs of an individual situation. Ricken Financial LLC is not permitted to offer, and no statement made during the show shall constitute tax or legal advice. Our firm is not affiliated with or endorsed by the U.S. government or any governmental agency. The information and opinions contained herein provided by third parties have been obtained from sources believed to be reliable, but accuracy and completeness cannot be guaranteed by Ricken Financial LLC.
Please remember that converting an employer plan account to a Roth IRA is a taxable event. Increased taxable income from the Roth IRA conversion may have several consequences. Be sure to consult with a qualified tax advisor before making any decisions regarding your IRA.
Tax preparation and tax advisory services are offered through Ricken Financial. These services are not offered by IPW and are not subject to investment advisor requirements. These services referenced are an outside business activity not offered through or supervised by IPW.